let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go! Let's go! Nothing's gonna stop us today. Get on the bus or get out the way. We're cruising with the radio on. So turn it up to 10. Here comes our favorite song. Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a special Cinco de Mayo to my Mexican friends. This is IOT Tuesday. Welcome to another thrilling and insightful episode of the show, the one and only IoT show on the continent, most part of the world, that dissects, demystifies, and gives you hands-on experience on IoT. Well, in today's episode, we're going to be continuing on where we left off last week by storing data in the cloud. When we come back, I am going to give you how to do that. Stick and stay with me. Awesome, we are back. We are back. Okay, wow, that's so fast. That's fast. We already have a first question coming in from Java Cloud. Welcome, Java Cloud. Thank you for joining today's episode. Your question is, how can I start from beginner level? Well, good thing is that for IoT, you don't need to know much. It's even good that you already have Java skills, so you just pick bits and pieces of maybe C++. But if you like, today you can actually run Node on Python, Node or Python on a Raspberry Pi or some very common IoT boards. But I would encourage you to get yourself probably a dev kit, an IoT dev kit, and then you can get started with it. It's quite very simple. If you can tell me where you are based, then I can make some recommendations on where to get some of these test kits. So, what do we have in today's episode? Very interesting. I'm a bit hyper. I don't know why, but I just came from something. Okay. Well, so as you always know, before we get started, I like to tell you what's happening in the world of IoT before we move on. And I'm pretty interested in something that just came up. So let me just go up here and share that. Let me bring this here. Awesome. And let's go this way. So let me know if you can see my screen. Accra. Okay, so Java Cloud. You're based in Accra. All right. So, if you want to get your hand on an IoT starter kit like the Arduino or the Seed Studio Pack, just connect with me after the show. I'll connect you and get you some IoT starter kits. So, like I mentioned, okay, let's respond to this. Connect with me after the show. Welcome to you guys all joining us from different parts of the world. So, this is what I am much excited about, the Azure Sphere 20.04 update. Now, why am I so excited about this? It packs, some very solid and powerful features. Up until now, it was quite difficult to do some of these things, but they are trying to make the experience very seamless, very, smooth. If you don't know what Azure Sphere is, I have a couple of episodes on Azure Sphere. Actually, I started with Azure Sphere. This is what an Azure Sphere look like. But this is not, Azure Sphere is like, it's one of the secured MCU, powered by Microsoft, and it's years of experience in this space. So check this out. You can check on my website or even my YouTube channel. That video is there. But let's take a look at it now. These are the cool features. Now, it's available in the retail field, which means that you can actually move these things into production. So no big deal about that. Now, the first thing is the enterprise connectivity features. Now, this update allows you to do the extensible authentication protocol transfer layer security. Cool stuff that allows you to connect to Wi-Fi networks. All right, there's an improvement in there. There were some vulnerabilities in the previous build that were fixed as well. So cool. One of the cool things is the single Windows installer. Now, we have one single Windows installer that allows you to update older versions. Before, you had to manually uninstall the older version of the SDK before you could install new ones. Of the single Windows SDK now, you can actually install it, without having to uninstall previous version. Then there's also now unified extensions of Visual Studio and then Visual Studio Code. So you can create, and this will give you automatic updates. So you don't need to worry about that. So I think I would want to do that. Let's see. Maybe as a side or a bonus for today's episode, I'll do that for you to see that. Then, for those who are very familiar with C++ and CMake, there is improvement in it that allows you now configure Sphere projects very simply. Because it's something we complained about that it was quite difficult getting started with Azure Sphere coming from Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. So they are making this quite easy for us, to work on. Now debugging, now you can have a single instance for debugging for Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code simultaneously, which is huge. So the samples also available to do that. Now to the biggest part of the update that I'm really excited about is the public API. I think it deserves a round of applause and to say that that's awesome. Yes, it is. It is very awesome in the sense that up until now, it was we didn't have any public API to allow us to access, data, device information or stuff, from devices on the field. But with this new public API, there is a way to access or receive data from devices in the field, and this uses REST and comes in the form of JSON. So this is like a cool stuff for us to take a look at. So for the sakes of this, quite briefly, just go in there, take a look at it, and then you can always follow this thread and get information about it. So this is the SDK. So I showed how to do this in my previous episode for the Azure Sphere. So that is awesome. So now once you set this up, all right, once you set it up, you install the SDK and run it once. Let's see if let's actually do this. Sometimes I just worry about this because you're doing it live, and let me put the desktop and then let's see what happens. So because it's now a unified SDK, if you want to uninstall it, right, you can run the same installer or just go to your add remove programs and then you can take that out of it. Then the unified installer here, let's see. So now the SDK for Visual Studio, Visual Studio Code, and Windows command line interface, you can have all that in a single API. All right. So let's take a look at Visual Studio Code extension and the Visual Studio. Right, let's see if it's done. So we're going to do this live, so you can see. I walk you through the process. So don't don't freak out, all right? And then you can go and try all the setups. What I'm going to do is that I'll try to do a follow up, just a little divergent from the series, and then we can test out the new APIs on our Azure Sphere, all right, so that you guys can have a feel of it as well. But if there's anything specific you want me to do or talk about, reach out to me on any of my social media handles, and I'll be glad to help you do that. Good. So this is installed. I have to confess that I had a couple of issues installing the SDK, especially the one in the Visual Studio extensions. I always kept running into problems about it's not compatible and some other issues. I don't know if it's my machine or not, but hey, we'll take a look at it today. If it fails, I'll probably come back and try this again. But hopefully, keeping it cross with an update, this should install a standardized SDK across a Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio, and I can use the extension there. Well, if you have any questions, don't forget to ask it, and then I'll be glad to, answer that. So lately, I've been receiving a lot of questions about, hey, how can I get into IoT? What do I need? What experiences do I need? Like, I've been receiving a lot of information about how to, and I have, yes, I'm online on YouTube. And for some time now, I think for the past week, I have had a couple of sessions on IoT for various groups, and you can check those out. So someone is asking if I'm streaming on YouTube. Yes, I'm streaming on YouTube. A couple of people are already watching on YouTube, so should be able to see that, unless of course something is going on with the YouTube. Okay, cool, cool. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that is sorted out. Yeah, so whilst the installation is happening, let me go full screen so I can explain this. Now, getting started into IoT is not a difficult thing or a hard thing. There is IoT good. So this is what I was talking about. Let's go here. So you can see that I have. Let me actually bring my zoom it up so I can show you this. That's why I wouldn't want to do this on here, but I just wanted to show you. So I keep having this particular, installation, and then I would debug this, figure it out. I'm sure if you try to install it, you won't have this problem because I already have one. I think I have a version that is probably conflicting or doing something weird. So I have to just go through the process of fixing it out. But I'll check the logs and fix that. But that's not the purpose of today's session. So we're cool about that and get rid of this. And then, yeah, let me go back to my explanation. So it's not a hard thing. Worst case scenario, all you need is to get, a starter kit. And most people, you're advised to go in for like Arduino, a Raspberry Pi, whichever you can lay hands on. Now, if you happen to be Ghana, Nigeria, based in Ghana, Nigeria, or in West Africa, you can actually check out this site, which is HTTP. I'll post that for you, check out. So not to worry about that. Yeah. So this is called it's called the Gigstore, right? The Gigstore, gigstore.com.ng. So they carry a lot of the IoT stuff, all right, that you would you would primarily get like out of continent or out of state. So if you're looking to get some of all these things, all right, you can check the Geek Store out. The Ghana store is coming up. We're still working on it. It should be in pretty soon. So those of you in Ghana can also use the Geek Store Ghana to purchase all your IoT, hardware, sensors, and all that cool stuff that that come with it. So don't feel left out. We're going to make sure this happens. So like I'm saying, all you need is just a minimum understanding of programming, and even if you don't, the Arduino level C is quite simple for you to get started with, and then you can move on from there. All right, all right, all right, all right, awesome. Okay, so now that we have this out of the way, let's go to what we are here today. So last week we started talking about how to send data because we said that all this while our if I go back to our bench, all we've had on our bench is just our setup here, using this THT11 temperature and humidity sensor running connected to this Raspberry Pi, running Node, sending this app Azure IoT Hubs. And up until now, we're just reading the data. Okay, it's just reading it, and we're able to send commands to turn this fan, on and off based on what we call the direct method invocation, and did some other cool stuff. And then in other episodes, I actually showed how we control this whole rig from a Microsoft Power Apps, which was cool, and we showed that we can use the client to do that. Last week, we decided to now send the data, store the data, or persist the data in the cloud for subsequent processing or use. And we looked at various ways we could do that. And one of the ways we said was that we could actually use Azure Functions that would be triggered anytime data was sent to the IoT Hub. And anytime data was sent to the IoT Hub, the function will be called, okay, to do something or send the data to a Cosmos DB on Azure. Now that's just one way. We could send it to any other storage or any other services on the Azure Hub. So in today's episode, we're going to continue to finish that, and then we'll store the data in Cosmos DB. Then next week, I'll show you how to create custom routes so that you can actually filter between the messages that are coming. If they're setting meta tags, data data points in the sensor values coming, we can send them to a different endpoint. If it contains another one, we can send it to a different endpoint here. Okay, awesome. So let's get to it. So let's come here. I'm going to always. So let's get our first of all. Let's get our application app. To do this, as always, I need to check. So if we do this, it looks like we are not connected. Oh, how is that possible? So let's check this. So it looks like our Pi is not connected, so no wireless net. This is strange. There is a wireless net. We have a wireless network here. That is very okay. So let's do this. I'm just going to um restart this. Let's restart our Pi because it looks like there's something funny going on. Sorry, the screen is going to flicker. That's okay because I'm trying to bench because I'm trying to start my Pi. Okay, let's go back in. What's happening? Good. So the Pi is being set. So you see that it's actually coming from the Raspberry Pi and um, not me, conjuring or making things up. So we have our application running on the Raspberry Pi. All right, it's running Node on a Raspberry Pi. Then we've written a simple solution just to read data from the sensor and then send to the Azure cloud. So here we go. I see it's shown. Let's see the IP we have. So now we have 4. So it's on an IP4. So I could configure my router to give like a static IP for the Pi, but I'm just lazy to do that. So I know it's on a 4. So let's go back here. So now I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code because that's what I used. Visual Studio Code. All right. So just so you know, it's very easy and simple to use Visual Studio Code. All right, to connect or build solutions that are connect your devices that are remotely connected to your machine. So as you can see, if I flip back here, see that I have my Pi here. It's just connected to the same Wi-Fi network that my laptop is on. Then I can now use Visual Studio and use SSH to connect to it and work on it just like any other device. I've shown this several times here. So let's show you how to do that. So if you're running Visual Studio Code, down here where you have this green button, click it, and then I'll go to open the configuration file because we need to change the configuration. So let me do this. Uh, Activating open because I need to change the configuration file because now, as we can see, our Raspberry Pi is on a different IP address, uh, as before. So this is 4 IP 4.100.4. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Okay, open configuration file. Hurry up. Okay, so I'm going to open the configuration file. Thanks to my very strict virus. Hope the screen comes back. Yeah, so we're going to change 4. And we change this to 4. So I'm saying that if I just give my Raspberry Pi a static IP, this shouldn't be a big. So with this done, I'll just go click here again, and then I'll connect to a host. I'll be asked for the host, which you're seeing. This is the name of the host. It will try to connect, and then it will ask me to provide a password. Yeah, it's a Linux machine, and it will ask me, do I wish to continue? Yes, I want to continue. Then it will ask me for the password. I'll enter my super strong password. And here we go. So now we are connected to with the Raspberry Pi. So I can actually go ahead and then open the file. So we're working on dev node app. Yep, by opening this, and now we are connected to this node application running on the Raspberry Pi. All right, quite simple. And then yeah, it will ask me to authenticate again just to be sure because we changed the directory. Okay, awesome. So as you can see, quite very simple. We are working on device behind this. So this is this is just basic node. So for those asking, how do I get started? How do I get into it? Even if you can write node, all right, you can write Node.js, you can deploy node on your Raspberry Pi and you are in the business, not necessarily C++, all right. There has been an argument that do I need to know C++ before I get into IoT? Definitely not. Not strictly no. You don't necessarily need to know C++ to do IoT, right? So let's quickly run this so you can see what's happening. So if I go and run this, just see that the application is running. Yeah, there we go. Sent a message. This is it. There's no change. Currently, they say my room temperature is 25 degrees Celsius. Uh, for this 5 seconds interval, is going to be sending the data. All right. So 25, nothing changes. So I'm using a simple mechanism. For those that have been following, you know what I'm doing. I'm storing this current value unless of course the temperature changes either above or below 25. We're not sending anything to the IoT hub. All right. And I've shown on countless videos how I use the heat gun to trigger it to send. So won't be worried about that for now. But for the sakes of um, showing you how that works, I'm just going to go ahead. Let's going to go to the for split. Let me make this a bit bigger so you can see. So if you're looking in the top right, this is a heat gun. It it blows heat. Even though I'm in an air conditioning environment, I'm going to put some heat, and then you should see the temperature change from there. So this is me applying the heat, as you can see in the top right. And then if you look in the top left view, there you go. The temperature has risen to 39. That's enough. It's gonna cool down, so we're going to see a lot of data going in and out. So if you look at this 3940, so as the temperature is dropping, this data is being sent to the hub. Now to validate and to see this, all right, in our function, because the last week we created a function that consumes this data. So let's now go here. Let me open, where's my edge? Whilst that's happening, let's keep looking at it. So it's going to gradually, and as you can see, if the message is successfully sent to the hub, it returns the message. It sends the message and returns, uh, you know, it returns the message for us to know that it sent it. So you can see that the temperature is gradually dropping, and that change in temperature is being sent to the IoT app. Now, so let's go to our Azure portal. Okay. All right. Then let me enter my super sensitive password, username and password. Then once that is done, you will come back. Cool. Some. So just gonna let me zoom this in. That so this is it. So last week we created what I did was I created a Cosmos DB for it called IoT Tuesday. So if we open this app, you can see that we have our Cosmos, right? And this is just info about how to connect to Node, MongoDB, and all that. If we check the Data Explorer, we don't have anything in it. All right, we don't have anything yet. That's because we've not written that part that's going to send data. And so there's no collection, right? We don't have any collection. Say that no notebook. This is just a lot of getting started stuff. But we don't have any collections. I could create a new one here for us to use. and then we can call that from it. So I think I just go ahead and then just create a new collection, and then we'll call this collection sensor, right? Let's just call this sensor data, right? I'll just make a note of this collection here. Awesome. Yeah, just provision throughput. Yeah, we just leave everything. Yeah, and this is just an estimate on how much it's going to cost me. Just then the collection ID is kind of like um your 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 unique identifier for this particular, like for content going into that collection. So I think I can use uh let me just call this sensor, right? Let me call this sensor, and then the database name just be sensor data, right? Good. Um, I okay, let's so now the, the shard key here. This is something unique to Cosmos DB. It's more or less like you're doing like unique that allows you to spread the data or group the data based on I we can group both. So let's first of all let's look at how the data comes in so that we can plan how to send it. So as you can see, there's device ID. All right, so I can decide to shard it based on device ID or group the data based on device ID. So if I have multiple device IDs, all right, sending like if I have multiple devices sending the data, I want to group sensor values for particular devices in a particular partition or particular grouping. So I think we should use that. We should go ahead and use device ID as shard ID. Let's put it here. Then okay, and this should create a collection. Now, whilst that's happening, let's check what's happening. So we are 30. Yeah, so oh no, so we're back at 26. To show that it's going into the Agile function, I would use the heat gun again, and then we can see that. Okay, so now as you can see, we have our collection, okay, sensor data, and then we have our database, okay, called sensor. So collection sensor data, the database sensor data, the collection ID called what sensor. So I have this created now. Now let's go to our where is that? Moonlight processor. This is no logic app. We have that already. So let's go back to our IoT resource. I don't think I pinned it. So IoT Tuesday resource group. We should see. Let me. Yep. I was looking. So this is our functions we created. Let me zoom here so you can see this. So I'm going to open this up. So this is the Azure functions we created that will be listening that will be triggered, or the input binding will be when the data is dropped into our IoT hub. As you can see from here, the data is being sent when there's a change in temperature and humidity. So we want this function to always get that change anytime it happens. Okay, to get that anytime it's sent to the IoT hub, we want this function to be triggered, collect the data, and then store this data in our Cosmos DB just created, right? So I'm going to go ahead and open this, and then we're going to run it so you can see that this is actually working. At this stage where we got to, it's working, it's sending the data. So very simple here again. We're using another, you know, JavaScript or Node, all right, Node code base. So you see, it's not necessarily, I could choose to have that, I could have chosen to do this in C++, sorry, C Sharp, Python, or any of the languages supported by Azure Functions. Or I could have even containerized the whole Scala or old language. Once it can run in a container, I can deploy it on Azure Function. So very simple. The bindings I have here is coming from an IoT message, right? That's the input binding. And all we are saying is that, so I can actually change so we can see um, what's happening. So anytime the message comes in, we just log the message that is processed. All right. So context.log. Let's just get rid of this. Actually, I can say, let's do this. I can say new, well, I can say no, let's say data, uh, yeah, let's say new sensor data send, send to IoT, IoT hub, right? So very simple. All that this function is doing is anytime it detects that a message has been sent to the hub, it will just say this, and then for all the messages that have been sent, it will just log them. It will just show them in a log down here. So if I save this and I run, all right, I'm going to run this and take a look at this. Um, these are the logs. So if you look closely, if you look here, you don't really see anything that says new sensor data or anything of that sort, right? If I come here, nothing has been sent. So to show you that this is actually working, I'm going to bring, let's go to my four square view again, and then I'm going to bring them, uh, yep, so I'm going to bring this up. So watch this carefully. So as I increase it, if that information goes, let me actually, yeah, I'm zooming this in a bit so you can, uh, so let's do this. Okay, so you can see what's happening here. All right, so here we go. Let's try this again. Let me check the heat because I actually bent my sensor the last time. So okay, so this is sent. I think by now that should be fine. Yep. So I'm stopping this, and then let's give it a bit. And now check that out. Do you see that? Here it is. Let me go full screen for you to see. Check that out. So device ID, Raspberry Pi, temperature 39. So it's now sending. So far as this function is being triggered, if you go back to here, you can see that the data was sent 38. So that tells us that at this point, our function is receiving the data. All right, our Azure Functions is receiving the data. As soon as it's sent to the IoT hub, this function is triggered, it picks it up. So the next part of this thing is to connect it to what Cosmos storage. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to bring this back down a bit. Let's close this. Now, to do this, if you followed me on my when I started when I started Functions Friday, I talked about how to do all these things. So if you are new to Functions, go back to my YouTube page and check out my Functions Friday playlist. How to do all this is there. I have videos on how to do that. So functions work with what we call bindings. All right, there are input bindings, there are output bindings. Okay, so see them as variables like arguments you pass and like outputs you give. Look at them that way, right? So the the way we're going to do this is to do something called integrations. Already we've seen the IoT hub, which is an input trigger. So this function is only called. This is what we call the serverless architecture. This function is only called or processed when a message is sent to the IoT hub. That's how it works. However, we need to now say that anytime the message can, once you, right now we're just outputting the message, but we want to store the message. All right. To make this happen, we go to integrate here and then look at this. So currently, if we look closely at what we have, if you look at the inputs, okay, this is our input, IoT hub message. You see it. So this is where our event is being triggered from. So this is all the input, right? However, what we want to add is an output. Okay, we want to send this data to Cosmos. So Cosmos becomes our output. So let's click on new output parameter. You can see from here a bunch of them fixed. So cool thing I can do is I can actually send it to an Azure Queue storage. I could send it to a blob storage. I could have sent it to an HTTP endpoint. I could have sent it to Azure Service Bus, an Azure Table Storage, another Event Hub, a send grid as in send an email, or Twilio to send an SMS. All right. But what I want to do is send it to what? Cosmos DB. So it could be any of these options, right? So let's do Cosmos DB. Let's select this. And yeah, so it's loading all the information and the document parameter name, right? So here, the name that we use to identify this binding in the code, as you can see, is output document. So if I want to reference this, okay, uh, so let's see. So this is going to be the database, all right, the database we want it to go in. And if you remember, we said that if the database, you remember the collection and database we created, all right? If I had not created those, I could have left this here and we'll create it, all right? But because that information already exists, is that okay? I'll just go and fill this out here. So remember, I store the name somewhere. Let's do this. So let's go ahead and do this. That what is it? Yeah. So the collection ID or sensor, right? This is a collection name. And I'll put this here. And the database name called what? Sensor. So I'm going to put this here. And then this is going to be the the database collection. Sorry, the database connection string. So I can do, a new one here. And then this is going to try to look for, there you go. We see, we found the database account, select. And Azure makes things, very easy for you to connect. And there we go. It's all connected. All right. So now it creates a connection and then connects to my, as you can see, connected to it. This is my sensor and all that. Pretty cool. Okay. And then, well, if true, if we set this on, if we select this, it's going to create it. However, we've already given all the information we want. Partition key is just like the way you want data to be separated or segregated or stored in your system. Remember, we used device ID. So I'll probably do the same thing so I can keep them in one space. So let's go here. Let's copy. Yep, I'm going to use device ID as that property coming in. Yeah, and then I think that's it. So we've done. So this is how we're going to reference it in the code. All right. This is how we're going to reference it in the code. So if you want to reference this, you probably say output document, right? So that's it. So I don't want to use the functions return value because this function is not returning anything to say that that's how I want to represent it. We can give it a name if we want to. So that's fine. We can just say output document is fine. We can leave it the way it is. And I'll click on save. Right? Then this, wait for it to, finish its processing. And then we would have technically connected to it. So now if there's any data coming in, this will create an output. We'll send it to this. So to check this out, all right, we've not done any change to the code yet, all right. So let's go back to our function. As you can see now, uh, in terms of input, we have our IoT Hub input, and then we have our this is our trigger. So we have our IoT Hub trigger, and then we have our output as the Cosmos DB output. So if you go back to the function, and you notice that we've not done anything, nothing has been done. All right, nothing has been done. Same function. All right, same function. So let's save this, and then um, I'm going to run this. Okay, but before that, let me go back to our, how do you call it, our Cosmos. All right, and then check if there's something there, so you know that it's not that we put anything. So let's go to Data Explorer. Let's open our collection, sensor data, and let's open sensor document. As you can see, there is no document. All right. There is no document. We don't have anything in here as of now. All right. There's nothing. There's nothing in here. All right. Cool. So let's keep this open, and then we know our okay. So we know that our something was okay. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and add some heat again. Okay. All right. So as we can see, there's a change in temperature, 30. That has been sent. Let's go here. Now I can refresh this a bit, and hopefully that should come in. So I mean, and it won't show yet, and I would explain why. So let's go to our function just to be sure that we have this coming in. So I think I should just open function up so we can actually easily cycle through the function. Okay. All right. So I just want to open this just to make sure that we are we are getting that information there. Okay. That is cool. All right. So let's run this and let's open this up. And yep. So I'm going to do this again just to make sure that we have data coming in here. Okay. So as you can see, the data is coming in here, but in our code, we're not using it for anything. All right, we're not using it for anything. The data is just coming in. We're just outputting the message. All right, that is coming from how do you call it? That's coming from the IoT hub. All right, that's all we're doing. So to make to be able to read, all right, this information coming. Let me make this big so you can see this well. So to enable us save this, okay, or let's say um put this into our Cosmos DB, we now need to use that output binding, all right, and then make use of it. Okay, how do we do that? Well, we're going to work on this. Right, simple. So first of all, let me do this. Let me go to the integration part, and we've already created the output, which is going to our Cosmos. So fine. Let me check on the trigger. App can fine. Yeah, we're fine with this. So there are many of it coming in, so we can cycle through. That's fine. All right, and then let's check our oh, okay, okay, yeah, that is cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so with the what we can do now, okay, is back in the code just to be sure that we are getting the correct stuff. What I'm going to do also is I'm going ahead. You remember that back in integrate. Oh yeah, we need to save this. Let's see. Let's. I think I'm using the. So here, if you look at it, we said that this is how I can reference it in my code. Okay, this is how I can reference it. What's it saying? Must be an alpha numeric. Oh yeah, it is. Oh look, spacing. copy this and let's go back to our function here. Okay. Yep. Very simple. All right. So now what I want to do, okay, what I want to do now is to send that message that is in there. We want to be sure that the output is going in there, right? Just to be sure. So let's go ahead and this set this up. We're not going to use any like client or anything like that because we've already connected it to it and we have it as an output, right? Very, very simple. So we have the collection and we have all that. So what I'm going to do now is let's check this. After this, let's do context log. Yeah, let's just see what we have. Let's run this. I'm going to run this. Okay, what's this thing? Sensor data send. Oh, process the no, not okay because I ran this with a test here. Fine. It says not defined. Let's go back here to integrate. Let's go to our output and right here. That's our connection. So this is our connection string, all right? So if we intend to do anything in here, this will be the connection that we let's I just want to be sure this is created. This is the output. I need to create a client with the code, but I just wanted to, yeah. There it is. Very simple. Pa-pa. Okay. So I'll just go ahead and just have this set up for us. So let's just go ahead and use. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to write the code, all right, to take that and store so that we are very how do you say it? We have that in there. So here there is that. Go to animate. Yes, save this. I made changes, so just to be sure that I have this output properly. Cosmos. So let me copy this. All right. I want to. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to copy this connection string. Let me copy this because I'll need this in the piece of code I write to store the data. So there we go. All that. Let's add a bit. Cool. Then this connection have a parameter here. There we Yep. Okay. Yeah, we have our output document. Okay, so quite easy. So now I have all that set up. Now let's come back here. I've copied all my that information, and I think that is set up. Um, we should have this going into the database now. All right, so let's come back here and modify our function to now store it. Okay, so very simple. We just say anytime this function runs, we say this is running. Okay, and then this is all the message. This is all the message we are collecting for the data coming in. Okay, we can do any analysis or anything we want on it, but that's not what we want to do. So we can go ahead. So if you realize we want to break this apart and store it. All right. So if you look at the data that is being sent, let's copy this here. So this is how the data is coming. Okay, let's copy this. So this is how the data is coming. Just for the sake of this, I'm going to paste this here. So it's coming in as message. Let's do as message device ID, temperature, humidity, fan on, LED on, time, right? So this is how the data is being sent by our IoT hub, right? This is how the data is being sent by the IoT hub. So we want to modify this and send, okay, to our Cosmos DB, all right? So let's close this. This is the last thing we called, right? So during this process, for each of it, I'm just going to do something very simple. I could actually pass the whole file, all right? I could pass this whole file to it, but let's just for the sakes of showing that we could do some processes with it here, just going to create, so let me say, um, just say that account. And this is because I'm using the cardinality of many, which means it's looping through this. All right, it's looping through anything that is here, and then giving me all the data as one and sending. So let's set the count equals 0, and this is just pure Node, right? And let's say let the total um, temp, total temperature. Let's say the total temperature is 0. Yeah, we can do 0.0. That's fine. Then we can say let's say let total humidity also equal 0. And you understand why I'm doing this. I'm going to modify it within when the data comes. Let's say let uh, the device ID equals empty, because we're going to change this when the data comes. So this is what we have. So now in here, when the data comes, this is what I want to do. All right. First of all, I'm going to increment the count, right? Because that's a new data. And then we can say that let total temperature equal to whatever that was there, all right, plus the message that is coming. Okay, if you look at this is it, right? The message that is coming, dot what? Its temperature. Oh, this is coming as string. So we're going to have some problem. Uh, because we're passing this into it as a string. I can do a pass to int, but um that would just be like too much work. Yeah, that would just be too much work. Okay, you know what? Don't worry about that. Let's just send it directly. Just so we're also running out of time, but let's just send this directly. So I won't do any crazy things here. I know that the message coming in, this is there for each of it coming in, for the data coming in, this is it, right? I can decide to send each of them that comes, or I can batch it, but for the sakes of this, I'm just going to send it anytime the message comes. So to do this, This is how you access the bindings you've done. So I'll just go ahead and say context, okay, dot bindings. Let's spell it all B-I-N-I. Okay, yeah, so I spelled it well. Good. So in this case, what is the name of our binding? It's called the output what document. That's the name of the Cosmos DB output document name. So it's called what? Output document. Let's spell this one. Document. Right? Cool. And I can say that now this output, the document that we're going to pass, is basically this message. Right? That's pretty much it. And then so once all this is done, you can now call context.done. So this is just the one liner here, okay, in the code, this particular one. Let me increase it so you can see. This is the one liner that is supposed to send the data from our IoT hub into our Cosmos. All right. Okay, so let's try this. Save this. I'm going to bring this down a bit. Let's go here and go down. And we don't have anything. And again, just to prove this is done, if we go into our let's go here into our Cosmos DB and let's check our Data Explorer. I'm going to reduce this a bit so you can see it. So document, well, as you can see, we don't have anything yet. Okay, so moment of truth. Just going to blow some air. Again, some air here. Okay, I should think that is enough. If we go back and check, yeah, that has sent quite a number of stuff to the. Okay, so now let's refresh, see what we have here. Refresh this. Okay, so let's go back to, and where is that? The testing failed. Okay, so there's something happening here. It says that what? The parameter value cannot be null. Document, what's happening? Okay, let's run this and see. Okay, yeah, so data came in, temperature. As you can see, temperature, humidity was here. But then in saving it, it says, oh, we're using a SQL account. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, so you know what? Um, I'm going to quickly change the output, and then we're going to use it. That's because I chose a different query API for the database. So let's fix this quickly. Let's go to integrate. I'm going to delete this one, and then I'm going to create a new output or same output for Cosmos DB. Select. The name is the same. And then I'll just check this, and then I'll just leave these names the same so we can quickly just wrap this up. Else I could have just used what I've created. So output database, the database name here, let me make a note of this. Database will be output database, the collection here. Let's just call it sensor. There you go. I could give it any name, but that's fine. So the collection name, sensor. All right, and then we already have like a connection string to that, so we're going to use that. Then I'll save this. There we go. So all I need to do is make a copy of this. I have saved that, and then we come back to my code. Nothing changes in my code, but let me ensure that thing that yeah, so context of binding. There we go. Just to be sure that I'm not missing out any. Yeah, save this. Cool. And let's open logs and see what's happening. Save. Let's clear the logs. So this is already running. So now I'm going to go back to the code. And yeah, 30, this should come down and probably send some more stuff. Let's heat it up again. Let's change the temperature. Yep. So we've got it to 40, 60. And now let's go here. And this is coming and it's still all API is not supported. We're getting the same error. Sensor data has arrived. Yes, we got this and of this. Um, Passing this in. Okay. So SQL API is not supported for this database account. Well, you know what? Let's go back to in out. Let's see if I create a new. If I create, yeah, select that database, that Cosmos. Yes, let's select that. Even with a new one, create. Lots of demo day. So we have the um, have the connection. Yeah, I wanted to create the database. Yeah, this should good. Okay, so I'm putting this in uh, yeah, message and as the output document. Let's look. Saying that the SQL API is not supported for this database account, not supported for this. So um, let's go see if we can fix this up. So let's go to overview of our bring this up here. Okay, so let's look. We have not replicated any Explorer. Where's that? Where's Yep, there you go. Explorer. Take a good look at this. Why? So this is a recent sensor. Okay, at the so sensor data. This is different. So we have time to delete uh, the sensor data. Yep. this. So I just want to recreate it. Oh, so look at that. This is it. Screw. So this is the one that was created by um this is the one that was created by, how do you call it? By Azure Functions, right? Because we stated this here. If we go back here, we look at the integrate, we look at our outputs, look at the database, out database, data collection. Yes, here. But the problem here is it's telling me that the Cosmos DB that I created doesn't support the SQL API. So it means that I need to change the database to support the SQL API. Okay, so the good thing for me is that I had not done anything specific with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it. Just going to drop it in. I'll just drop it and change. Go to my resource. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'm just going to make sure that supports a SQL API, right? So where's my Cosmos? There you go. I'll select it. Say um, adios to. Oh no. Go back. Go back. Hey. I hope I don't delete. Yeah, Cosmos. That. Want to delete all the selected resources? Yeah, just Cosmos. Nothing crazy. So this should delete the Cosmos DB we have, and then I'll create a new one and ensure that I'm using the SQL API, and we can continue from there. If you have any questions, just put it in um, the chat, and I will answer. We're going to finish this before this because next episode I want to move in creating endpoints for the data coming in, so I can split the data into different endpoints. So we need to finish this episode. I crave your indulgence. Give me some 4 minutes. Let's make this work. So I'm going to refresh. Yep, yeah, because this account is being deleted. Yep, 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 yep. So this is good for us. That risk. Okay, so whilst that's happening, let's go ahead and provision a new one. So I'm going to go to my home, or I could have done it the same way. So I'll just click on create resource, and then let's go add. That's deleted. I just want to make sure that no longer in. Let's questions. Let's come here and I'll delete this one and recreate it just to be sure that I'm not making any reference to the old stuff. So let's go to output, as you've seen me done a couple of times. Cosmos, select. Yeah, we'll just leave the default. Create the table. Create the Azure Cosmos database and collection. And now, yep, we don't have anything, right? So we don't have any database here. This would definitely not be. That tells us that it looks like it's dead. Okay, well, since it's still being deleted. Okay, let's go. So now let's create our new collection. I'll go to new source, and this is under database. We are doing Cosmos right here. Click this, and remember the error we're getting. If we go to the file and then we open the console, the logs, we're getting an error of the SQL API. So what I'll do is that whatever 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 it is, I'm going to make sure it has the SQL API. The resource group, let's put it in IoT today. The account name, I'll just do IoT. Let's say IoT2. Boop, boop, boop. Yep. Or let's do the IoT Tuesday demo. IoT demo. Yep. This should be available. Yes, we have this available. And then take a look at this. Take a look at this. So do you see that it's core SQL? All right. The other time I remember, I think we created it, we used MongoDB. So that is why we're having the problem. Hopefully crisscross. So we're going to use the core SQL. No notebook. Just keep this location for now. No production. We're not enabling any redundancy. Right. Let's review this and create. Very, very simple. Yeah, that's just it. Core SQL. Great. Now, this doesn't mean that the reason why I'm using core SQL is I just want to do this from within the code. If I wanted to use like the Mongo API, I would have to require the Mongo client node package added to it and then create a Mongo client from within my code. And that I can probably show that in an article, a blog post, but to make this work easily from right within functions, the functions app, I just need to use a core SQL like query API just to make this very easy and straightforward for us. So yep. Pum pum. Yep. Pum, pum. Okay, so we're using SQL, so that's fine. Let's see, is this done? What is it saying? It's still processing. All right. And it's the same process. So it's the same process you go through if you want to put it in any of these third-party stuff. Okay, like for instance, if you do the integrate and you want to create another output somewhere, like right now we have Azure Storage Key, Azure Queue Storage Blob. If you want to put in any of this, it's the same process. Make sure you have the service created in Azure. Come and select it, configure it, and then use it. That's just as simple as that. But remember, don't forget the caveat. When we created this Cosmos DB, we chose the Mongo API. But just so you know, Functions doesn't support Mongo API. It supports the SQL or Graph APIs. So that's why I had to recreate the Cosmos DB to support the SQL API, right? So let's refresh this. Let's see where we are. Development in progress. Go. Yeah. So with this, I'll just wait patiently for the Cosmos DB to be created. Then we can use it. But we will not make any change to the code. All right. The key thing here that I'm mentioning is this line, bindings on output. This just passing whatever message you're passing. But I think I will refactor the code so that here, okay, we are not passing a bit, so that we are not passing. So here it is. Check this out. So we are not passing string as the message that is sent. Uh, toggle. Yeah, send message. There you go. Temperature reading. So the message that I created, so this is the content. So yeah, this is why it's happening because I stringified it and sent it. All right, that's why it's making all of them into text. So I'm going to modify this, not to send it, or either when it's coming, I do some patching to make sure I'm getting it in like um, a float double or whatever that makes sense. That's a to do. I have to find myself up. Fresh. Yeah, this is taking a bit to, but we'll get through. I promise you, a wet wait. Yep, done. So another thing that I can do when the data comes in, okay, I think we can be messing around that whilst it's this. So let me go ahead and show you that, just so we know and get all that info whilst that is coming. Whilst we have the time, yes, I'll just go ahead. Yes, let the 0. Okay, okay, so yeah, let me explain this before I go ahead to do this. Now, the reason why you are seeing that we are looping through the message, okay, let me save this, is when we go to integrate, all right, when we go to integrate, and then we go to the triggers, the Azure event tab, because that's what's triggering this flow. You see the event cardinality? We're setting this to what? Many. Many in the sense that it is returning, it's going to return, we're going to get a lot of sensor information. All right, we're going to get a lot of sensor information. That is why there's many here, right? If we could change it to one, but the thing is, when we change it to one, back in our code, we will not need to be looping through it. It will just be one message. Does that make sense? It will just be one message and that's it. Just one message. But because we're using cardinality of many, it's telling us that, oh, there's going to be a lot of this sensor data coming. That's what we're doing for each. Yeah. But if you change the cardinality to one, all right, if you change the cardinality to one, just remember that you don't need to loop through it because it will just be seen as just one data string coming. So in this case, IoT hub message, you can just call this and pass that out. But because we are doing the cardinality of many, it's expecting a collection of what messages. So don't get that don't get that twisted. So we can call that temp 0, let total was 0, let one on equals false, and let um, LED on equals false. I think the last one is device ID. Yeah, so let device ID equal to something that the data that is coming, right? So cool. Let's check on this. If it's done, go ahead. Round. Okay. So let's check what we have. Back console. So we know that we're getting some loads, right? Let's just check this out. Um, let's refresh to see it's done. Still deploying. Okay, so let's come here. Okay. Oh, cool, 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 cool. Right. So what I want to do. So let's go ahead and say, well, so when the message comes, for each of the message, right? Let's say our count is going to be increased, right? And then we can set our total M. Can set the total temperature to equal to whatever that is there. plus whatever we have in that message. As you can see, remember our message. Um, this is how our message is coming, right? Remember that. Just bring okay. Just for good context. Guys, I think we should add let's give time for another right? Oh, then what I want to do is for all the message that is coming in, we have the total temperature and now be messaged or what? Look at this, it's going to be what temperature, right? Copy this, so that's it. Then we do the same humidity plus pause. Okay, we don't need a funnel just to demonstrate this. Let's just get rid of it for now. Just need like some average data that we are sending. So something here. Humidity will message. So have the humidity here, right? Then oh yeah, that guys if then copy the device ID, right? So device ID is just the device ID. We are not concatenating because we are passing device ID. Now this is where we're going to have the problem. We're going to have the problem in the sense that this is coming in as text, as you can see. It's all coming in as text. All right. So fix this. It means that whatever we are passing, we should, pass this into like a float or something. All right. Yeah. So let's pass this to a float all the time. So we're passing it into a float so we can do the addition. Else would have an error. Yeah, so pretty much that's just it. So anytime for the group of messages that come, we're doing this. Whatever that is there should be equal to, and here we've set them up here, right? So pass this in. But I'll go ahead, sorry about that, after I've looped through, and I'll say let my output is the smell. So let my output be this, all right? This is what I'll be sending. So I'll call this device ID. It has to be properly formed. This will be what? Whatever I have in here for device ID. Okay. Then yeah, let's just call this count equal to the number of, right, data points that came. And let's just call this, let's say this is average. Yeah, I'm just trying to create some extra so that you know that you can do manipulations before sending. So this I can say, let this be the total temperature divided by the count, right? So that's going to give us like an average. And I can do the same thing for him. Nope, wrong. Let's do average, which would be the total what him divided by the count, right? So yep. So we have this. Then just to give us, so now I can actually move this out of here because I won't I won't send it in this. I'll send it here before I do done. But I'm just going to comment this one because we've not yet set this up. So just to be sure that we're having the correct thing, I'm going to go ahead and then log the output. So we see, right? Just so we see what so I can go ahead and uh, output Cosmos. I'll put the output here, right? Yeah. So that's all we've done. And after that, we don't need this reference again. Let's get rid of it before we get an error. So let's save this. Great. Okay, cool. So here we are. Simple. We're just creating these variables to store data. So because of the cardinality, for all the messages, we're just incrementing and creating something here, and then we're just creating an output to send. Now, this would be the code to send the output to Cosmos, but for now, we just want to throw this onto the console or the log so we can see. Let's clear this. How in some, so nothing in here. I think it should be done now. Yes, our Cosmos done. So we can go to the resource. But before then, let's go back to our code and just ensure that it's sending data. Yeah, it's sending. So now, go back to my for split. We just want to be sure that our function is not erroring out. So I'm just going to try to change the temperature right now. Yep, 53, that's enough. As you can see, it's changed here. Now, let's run off. Let's see what's happening in the function. There's a log here. Data has been sent. Not broken yet. So, oh yeah, and this. Yeah, so let's check. Data is still. This should receive some data. So we are connected. Okay, so we're not running. So if I copied, just to test this, if I copied like this, if I copied this, oh, that's too. Copy this and then pasted it here, right? The test. Oh, sorry, very small. So if I copy this and I pasted it here and I run this, okay, the log stream. Yes, we said. Then I try this again. Oh, I think let's collapse it. Yeah, because there's nothing in the output for now. Nothing in the output. If I wanted to, let's see. So now let's go to integrate and output by using Cosmos. Select. We're just leaving everything to the default. Let's do a new connection. Yes. Select. Yep. So this has created the new. So this is selected. So I know I'm looking for collection output. This is an output document. This is how I refer to it. The code. Yep. So okay, so that's good. We go back to the function. Yep. This, all this, process the messages, create an output, set all the output, log, just to show this. And then I will just go ahead and now push this. And this time, instead of there's no message, right? It's actually output. So we're sending an output document and call context.done. So let's save. And then we can run this, right? Cool. So now check this out. So now we are seeing whatever the output we are sending to Cosmos. So now something is going into that database. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and cause where are we? 26. Let me cause a change in the temperature. And there you go, 54. That's fine. So I know that data is now going. Let's check our function to see if it's picking it up. Yep. You see that output to Cosmos DB, the object is saying. So we've seen, if I expand this, we know that something is being sent to Cosmos. Now let's come back to our Cosmos. Let's go to our data explorer and let's check if the data was actually sent. Right. So this is the SQL API. Let's refresh it. Refresh. There you can see output, my collection, items, and there you go. Check this out, people. There you have it, right? You can see we have, look at the items, sent. Pretty cool. So now, yes, we're having null and all that, probably because of the way I'm doing the concatenation. So I'm doing the load out there. But if you look at it, count is in here. Count will always be one because of the way I've done it. But I need to check the conventions that I'm doing. So let's do, I can go and modify that. But hey, this is it. As you can see, the data is being sent to Cosmos DB, okay, from my hub. So here, all that is telling me is probably I need um look at the way I am sending data. So here, like I was mentioning, I can actually just go ahead and send it without doing all this craziness. So I think let's do that. Okay, let's just do this. Let's just say that let's clear this out. This is what we, let's clear this and say for any time. So let's keep it simple. So for any time a message comes, we're just sending it to this is not ideal. We have to come up with some strategy of sending the data because you're built for the troop. So I can say that it. So for each of it, push this. Let's run this again. There you go. Yeah, and yeah, it's so this is also being saved. This is running. Because if we go back here, there's still temperature changes. The temperature is dropping. So as it drops, we are going to be sending info. So let's check what we've just done, the changes we've just done. Let's refresh this. And you should see that the list will probably go up. So let's load more. Now, just waiting for a set. Good, great. It looks like, yep, there we go. New set of data coming in. And now check this out. Do you see it? Message ID, device ID, temperature, humidity. Let me actually zoom see this. Um, how is, okay, there you go. Yep, here. So you can see this from here. So now the data on this side is being persisted, all right, in Cosmos. So though it took a long time to do this because we changed our database, our Cosmos DB type, but we've been able to see how easy it is to send data from your devices to Cosmos DB. Um, I can walk you through how you do that on blob storage and all that, but that's not necessary. So next week, what I want to do is to show you how to route the messages that are coming different endpoints, right? So if this was informative, this was interesting for you, please sign up, subscribe my channels, and then when I drop a new video, you'll be the first to know about it. Well, until then, stay safe and catch you for another episode next Friday. I'm out.